Hey, what's up, Street Gods? This is Eric Kim from the Eric Kim Street Photography Talk. So today I want to give you guys some practical tips and strategies in terms of how to monetize your photography and essentially how to make money through photography. And this is all available from the new book, The Modern Photographer. Google Eric Kim, The Modern Photographer, and you should find the book. So today's topic is modern photographer strategies. So I'll just essentially walk you guys through some basic ideas. As a modern photographer in today's day and age, you're not just a photographer anymore. You're essentially an imager. And I like to use the term imager because you're not just making pictures, you're making images, you're creating some sort of meaning, purpose, and you're inspiring other people with your images. And therefore, as an imager, in terms of branding yourself in your photography, don't just call yourself a photographer, call yourself a visual artist. The reason I like this concept of visual artist is that it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of promoting your work in different ways. You're not just making pictures, you can make digital illustrations, you can make paintings, you can use drawings, you can use Photoshop, you can use Illustrator, or obviously you can use your camera. The second strategy as a modern photographer is don't worry about being called a sellout, about essentially making money through your photos. A new cultural shift I want to change with the modern photographer is it's okay to make money from your photography. And whether you decide to make photography your part-time hustle or whether you decide to make photos your full-time living, there's no shame in charging money for your photographic services. There's just kind of this strange notion of like the pure artist as not being somebody who makes money from their photography and it solely is their artistic output. And there's a lot of people who worry, oh, if I make my passion my living, will it ruin my passion? For me, it hasn't. Honestly, it's actually encouraged me more to be more productive, to share more dopeness, and to spread more love. So don't be afraid of monetizing your passion. It's something that will inspire you and also help inspire other people. So another strategy as a modern photographer is to cross-pollinate. The basic concept of cross-pollination is that you're not just finding inspiration from photos, you're also finding inspiration from other forms of visual art. So for example, this is a Piet Mondrian mashup that my sister Annette Kim did, and you could see it's not just a traditional photograph anymore, it's a different type of picture. And had we not studied the work of Piet Mondrian with his red, yellow, and blue, you couldn't have kind of made this kind of image. Another practical tip when it comes to your photography, you essentially want to own your own platform, your own brand. So basically, I've had my own photography blog since 2010. I hosted on WordPress.org is the platform, and my host is oneandone.com. Also, Bluehost.com is a good platform. And it's kind of funny is that over the last 6-7 years, I've seen social media websites come and die and pass. So you remember that website called MySpace. Even nowadays, it's actually really sad that Flickr is essentially dead. It was bought out by Yahoo, then Yahoo's bought out by Verizon, and nobody uses Flickr no more. It's everyone just using Instagram. And unfortunately, and everyone's like, oh, Instagram this, Instagram that. Unfortunately, at this point, Instagram is just an advertising platform, and Instagram, like everything, is gonna essentially fade away. Even young kids nowadays, like Instagram ain't cool. It's all about using Snapchat. And I'm sure after Snapchat, there'll be something even cooler. So I recommend you to be your own brand, to be your own platform. And the tip is monthly fee for whatever service you're using, you are the product. Meaning, if you're using a free service like Facebook or Instagram, and if you guys don't know, Instagram is actually owned by Facebook. So essentially, it's all Facebook. You have to own your own website and your platform because it gives you more creative opportunities in terms of branding yourself, marketing yourself, publishing your images, your photos, your videos, and also if you want to eventually monetize your photography, it's going to be a lot more helpful. Also, I recommend you guys to start a newsletter. So I personally use MailChimp.com, and the reason why you want to start an email newsletter instead of building a Facebook or Twitter following is that with email newsletters, you have a much higher open rate. And when I say open rate, I mean, let's say, so I'll give you a practical example. So I have close to 100,000 followers on Facebook. If I post something, it's actually really sad. Only maybe 900 people out of that 100,000 people see it. And I cannot get more people to see my my message unless I boost it and give Facebook another 20 or 40 or 50 bucks, whatever it may be. Rather, by using MailChimp.com, I currently have around I think like 11,000 subscribers on my email newsletter. And if I send out a newsletter, I have around a 30% open rate, which is really, really good. That means that if I send out an email to my newsletter, about at least 3,000 people open it and could actually see it and access it. So even though email newsletters might seem a little bit passé, you still have higher deliverability rates. So I recommend going to MailChimp.com and making a newsletter, and it's free up to 1,000 people. Then after that, you start having to pay real money. Another practical tip is start your own YouTube channel. So you guys are watching this through YouTube, I assume. The great thing with YouTube is at this point, YouTube is the platform for video. And I personally don't make any money off of YouTube. I don't put on ads because I think they're annoying as hell. Rather, I'm using YouTube as a platform to market myself, to brand myself, to put my information out there and build my trustworthiness. And then eventually people will spend lots of money to attend my workshop, or they'll buy my products, hapticindustries.com, and just access the Eric Kim blog. Because this is the funny thing, a lot of people on YouTube, they actually don't know how to blog. So if you just Google Eric Kim blog, you notice in my pre-roll videos I say this is Eric Kim for the Eric Kim Street Photography blog as a way to market myself. So when you're making YouTube videos, yeah, be raw, uncensored, curse, whatever. You don't have to use fancy editing equipment. I personally just use a webcam, just record on your phone, use your digital camera, whatever. And my practical suggestion is don't try to make fancy edits, just make it 80% good enough and just hit publish. And the more you could put yourself out there, the more you show your personality and the more people essentially like you. And also another practical tip to succeed as a modern photographer in today's day and age is charge 25% more for your photo services than you think you're worth. So let's say, you want to shoot weddings and you're starting off, you're like, okay, how much should I charge? Let's say like, $1,000. Charge 25% more. So charge like $1,250 or like $1,300. And the truth is, people, if you charge more money for something, your client or the other person will actually think it's more valuable. So for example, Leica sells digital cameras for $7,000 and Fuji sells cameras for like $1,500. So in terms of image quality, the Fuji actually might take better pictures, but everyone assumes the Leica makes better pictures or is a better camera because it's more expensive. Same thing happens is if I go to the grocery store, I want to buy a nice cut of meat. I'll assume that the meat that's 20 bucks a pound is going to be superior to the meat that's only $5 a pound. Same thing if I have a massive headache, I want to get some medicine for my headache, I'll pay the $5 Tylenol compared to the $1 generic because I assume that the higher price means higher quality. So this means that you have to charge more money for your photo services. And when you're quoting yourself in your services, let's say you're doing photography workshops or you're doing one-on-one consulting, or let's say you're doing a photo shoot, a commercial or wedding shoot, a practical tip I'll have is give a 3-tier pricing system: a basic introduction price, an intermediate price, and an advanced price. Generally, most people gravitate towards the intermediate price. So let's say, you're shooting weddings, let's say. Maybe the intro price could be $1,000, then the intermediate price could be $1,500, and the high end could be $3,000. And therefore, the reason why this 3-tier strategy is good is that most people will gravitate towards the mid option. This is what car companies do. They have an entry level, a mid level, then a high end level car. Most people go for the middle option because most people don't want to buy the cheapest option because it seems cheap, too cheap. They don't buy the most expensive option because that's too expensive. They usually go for what's in the middle. Also, moving forward as a modern photographer, give yourself permission to change and reinvent yourself. So Bob Dylan, he has a great quote: if you're not busy being born, you're busy dying. And he constantly reinvented himself in his music. He started acoustic, then he went electric. People hated him for him, but then now they love him. And same thing with David Bowie, sorry, not good with pronunciation. Always constantly reinventing himself. I'm a huge Kanye fan. He started off just rapping, then he became, did auto-tune, 808 and Heartbreak. Then he became like kind of rock star with Yeezus. And now he's just doing this crazy experimental EDM stuff slash like fashion design, whatever. Also, never be sad. So this is another practical tip is how do you find happiness and joy in your photography and your visual art, but at the same time still hustle? A practical tip is never be satisfied with your art, so you could stay motivated to keep making new stuff, but be joyful and have fun during the process, which means that you're not just whipping yourself in the back. So I think this two-pronged approach is the best way you can stay productive as a photographer and visual artist. And the last tip I'll give you guys is the Kaizen process to self-improvement in photography. So it's a concept coined by Toyota, I think, or some other Japanese something. It means steady, small improvement. So the Kaizen process in Toyota is that, every single new Camry is a little bit better and they're constantly refining and improving it. It's not just like massive innovation. Same thing with the iPhone. Obviously the first iPhone was very revolutionary, but now it's more evolutionary where each little iPhone is getting a little bit better. There's no more huge leaps, but I kind of like this idea of the Kaizen process to self-improvement, because if you improve yourself, your photography, your platform, 1% every day, at the end of a year, you're gonna improve 3,800%. So compounding interests help. So in practical terms, like with physical fitness, every single day I try to do just one more push-up or one more chin-up. And with my photography following, just every day just try to get 1% new followers. And if you think small and you're building your kingdom, build it brick by brick. Don't think that you need massive jumps here and there. And so for me, I have little small wins. So if I sell one product at the Haptic Industries store, hapticindustries.com, or I get one more person to sign up for a workshop, I count these small wins. It keeps me motivated, keeps me inspired. Or, I get one more new people to subscribe to me on YouTube or my email newsletter. And so once again, think small, steady gains over the long term. And ultimately, your biggest goal as a photographer to survive in today's digital age is to not only survive, but thrive. So aim for the stars, think big, do moonshot thinking. You're dope, your photos are dope, you got this. I believe in you. For more inspiration, Google Eric Kim Modern Photographer. Go on the Googles and click there. And top right corner, become a modern photographer. Or if you're watching this on your phone, click become a modern photographer and pick up a copy of Modern Photographer to give you guys practical tips, strategies, and marketing, branding ideas to help you succeed as a modern photographer in today's digital age. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.